Nigeria is Africa's most populous country, and it's also the country responsible for making all the noise on the continent. In this video, we're going to decipher together what all the noise is about and decide if we should take notice or ignore all that noise. Whether it be entertainment, business, or jollof, a cuisine perfected by Nigerians, or something else like business or infrastructure, Nigerians have mastered the art of seeking attention. Becoming arguably the most recognized African passport around the world, it only begs to ask the question, how did a country that was completely caught up in years of civil war and military rule only a few decades ago rise to such prominence? The answer, well my friends, it's a little complicated. Taking a short trip down memory lane, the country initially gained its independence from Great Britain on October 1st, 1960, and about 3 years later, it formed into the Republic of Nigeria. Then unfortunately, due to the ethnic and regional tensions, the government was never stable, and by 1967, they were on the verge of civil war, only 4 years after the Republic was formed, which led to a period of several governments being formed, ultimately failing due to one of the greatest challenges Nigeria still continues to face to this very day: corruption. Muhammadu Buhari, although Nigeria's current president, had an initial reign as the leader of Nigeria, which was cut short after he fell out of favor with the military, and just 2 years later in 1985, he was replaced by General Ibrahim Babangida. But as the story would go, Babangida and his predecessors established what would only be described as a cruel and despicable corrupt military regime that persisted for long, like 13 years, until 1998, when the then ruler Sani Abacha died and his predecessor Abdulsalami Abubakar took over, promising to revolutionize Nigeria and transfer power back to the people. And transfer power he did. On May 29, 1999, he transferred power to the elected president Olusegun Obasanjo. And from thence, we can say that the rest is history, as Nigeria fully started to emerge as a force to be reckoned with in Africa. Now then, let's talk numbers. Since independence, the population of Nigeria has increased a staggering 362%. That is a stunning number, summing up to about 208 million people today, from around 4 to 5 million just in 1960. Wow, that's a whole lot of people. This figure is more than double the current country in second place, that is the DRC. The massive population growth is projected to continue in the future, and its population is said to surpass Brazil, Indonesia, Pakistan, and even the USA. This would make Nigeria the third most populated country in the world, behind China and India. In fact, by the year 2100, its population is projected to reach around 733 million people. This rapid population boom will present roadblocks on economic growth, but not undermining the potential opportunities Nigeria could very well have. Just to spin it around. Well, here are some points to back this up. As the country's economy continues to expand dramatically, just to put this in perspective, from 2000 to 2019, Nigeria's GDP by purchasing power rose to a staggering 282%. That is figuratively from around $282 billion to $1.08 trillion. You heard right. This figure simply makes it the largest economy in all of Africa. This rapid growth is also tied to the growth of Nigeria's industrial and service sectors, with a large amount of cheap young labor and a huge domestic market manufacturing in Nigeria, which has boomed. Summing to that, the banking and telecommunication services have as well received sustainable growth, and although Nigerians will tell you differently, the country still has very poor infrastructure, though huge investments are being made in that domain. And also, there has been talks of Centenary City, which is an $18 billion construction project in the making. These investments are Nigeria's shots at becoming an African superpower and a world power. As of the making of this video, it's projected that Nigeria's GDP by purchasing power will reach $4.35 trillion by 2050. And yes, that's trillion with a capital T. This meteoric rise in purchasing power will correspond to a GDP per capita of around $10,800 compared to just $5,000 as it stands today. This economic growth also accounts for the fact that its military might has risen significantly. For almost 2 decades now, Nigeria has maintained a defense budget of around 0.5% of GDP. If this continues, its defense will only go along in the same trajectory as its economy, giving the country a truly powerful military. As mentioned earlier, Nigeria's population growth will only increase the country's manpower. And of course, Nigeria's foreign influence will skyrocket, and they won't only be noisemakers on the continent but might actually have something to bring to the table. If you haven't been living under a rock for the past 2 decades, then you're very familiar with just how much the Nigerian entertainment industry has grown. Nollywood, Nigeria's film industry, has grown into the world's second largest movie industry, second only to India's Bollywood in terms of output. Its movies have caught the eye of a growing audience throughout the continent and internationally as well. And you see, as Nollywood expands, it is slowly exporting Nigerian culture and Nigerian stories around the world, just like Hollywood has done for the United States, expanding the nation's cultural influence around the globe. And if you thought its film industry was something, then get ready because its music industry is taking the world by storm. Nigerian songs like the infamous Love Nwantiti by CK and artists like Whiskey, Davido, D'banj, Techno, Savage, Burna Boy, and many more have attracted global audiences. Probably at the top of all that in the list would be terrorism. Since the insurgents of Boko Haram in 2009, the terrorist group has been a menace to northwestern Nigeria and killing tens of thousands of Nigerians and allegedly displacing over 2 million. Unless the terrorists can be completely wiped out, the country will continue to experience low tourism and development will be hampered. Another major problem facing Nigeria is overpopulation, or you might say overcrowding. If overpopulation surpasses economic development, then poverty is at the door because it would skyrocket from its already super high level. But fortunately, Nigeria's population growth rate has started declining in recent years. The country will also have to deal with climate change in some of its major cities. In Lagos, Nigeria's largest city, its location at a very low elevation from sea level, which is the case of rising sea levels every year, leads to flooding and would lead to more flooding in the coming years. Around an appalling 40% of Nigeria's population live under $1 a day. Lastly, the COVID-19 pandemic has also had its toll on Nigeria's economy, and this will also hinder economic growth in the short term. So what do you guys think? Are Nigerians making the right noises on the continent, or is it just the pride over nothing? In my opinion, they're in the right direction, but due to some of the facts pointed out in this video, Nigerians should take a chill pill because they're not out of the water yet. And so many issues have to be addressed if they are to become a superpower at all. If you enjoyed watching this video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel today and become a part of our family here at Think Rich Africa, as we shall continue to bring you only the smoothest and hottest and the most talking points on the African development, tourism and entrepreneurship sectors. See you in another video.